Welcome to the basal animals. This is the sponges, the cnidarians, and the ctenophorans.
So here are some general tips for working with the narrative PowerPoints. If you need more specific help, please see the file and Dropbox called Help with Narrated PowerPoints. And if that still doesn't work, feel free to email Professor Dempsey or Professor Turley and we will work with you to fix whatever issues you're experiencing. So these PowerPoints are a joint product that Professor Dempsey and myself, Professor Turley, have been putting together over the course of several years. We've worked together in an effort to bring you, the student, the best possible learning experience. We are both firm believers in the hypothesis that two heads are better than one, and that working together makes for a more well-rounded curriculum for you guys. So whether you have Professor Dempsey narrating a lecture or lab PowerPoint or myself narrating them, it really doesn't matter because we both stand behind this product. Just as a heads up, we both work at more than one campus, so on occasion you may hear references to other campuses that you are not located at. Not to worry. You may hear references to Northlake College or Collin College or even Grayson College because we pull resources from all of the campuses we work at in order to provide you guys with the best possible experience. So don't worry if you hear a reference to a campus that you're not located at. It's not a big deal. Another thing, textbooks updates will always trump the PowerPoints. So if you have the most current edition of the textbook and it disagrees with the PowerPoint, the textbook is what we will default to for lecture. If you come across anything like this, shoot Professor Dempsey or myself an email and we will look into it. Instructor announcements of any updates will also always trump the PowerPoints. So if you're in an in-person class, please attend class. It's very important so that you can get the announcements. If you are an online class, please pay attention to Blackboard announcements and to emails because we will contact you with any new information. If you spot an error in the material, feel free to shoot us an email and let us know. We are all about fixing mistakes. Now, granted, if there's a comma missing in this sentence, we probably aren't going to jump on that quite as fast as if it's a content error, but regardless, we do like to fix errors, so just let us know and we'll get to work on them. So here are the objectives for this presentation. Please read through them. At the end of the presentation, if you cannot complete these objectives, please go back through the presentation and re-watch the areas that you're struggling with.
So this is first lecture you have in a series of 4 lectures on Kingdom Animalia. Remember to focus on things that are unique, and I will try to distinguish those as much as I can. Also, remember to keep taxonomic categories as the backbone. When you go through the animals, you should be able to identify phylum and class, and in some cases, in the higher animals, we'll even do a couple of the orders, genus, and species. So when I give you taxonomy, make sure that you understand each of the categories. This is a great unit to get ahead, sort of apply all of the techniques that you've used so far. So get your thinking cap on and really sit down and understand that this is a great exam to ace. I think that there's a search image that you have in your head. If I say, hey, study Plasmodium vivax prior to this semester, you wouldn't have known what that looked like. But I think that when I say, hey, we're going to talk about the taxonomy of a dolphin, I think you understand or have a search image in your head. So I think it's a great opportunity. The other thing is that your skill level is probably much improved since the beginning of the semester. So you understand how to study, what techniques are working for you. I really think that this is a place to shine. With that comes one warning. If you do want to ace this one, do not wait to the last minute to start studying for it. It is fairly large in taxonomy, and you should see that straight off the bat. I always stop and pause and give special thanks to a mentor of mine, Professor Joyce Vogelsang. The lectures that Professor Turley and I have put together really represent building off of her base work. She was very inspired by the late Steve Irwin. She in turn inspired me, and I am trying my hardest, and we are trying our hardest to inspire you on to greatness as well. And in sort of that cascade of love for this planet, just remember that as we've gone through and recorded these and put these lectures together, we've always had you and your success in mind. So with that, join us on the appreciation of the diversity of life on this planet as applied to it animals. So this molecular hypothesis of life, this is not something that is new to you. You've seen this before. We're going to start over here today in the left-hand side, and we're going to look at a group of organisms called the poriferans. And these are organisms that have no true tissues. And then we're going to begin to look at the true tissue, or the eumetazoa animals, and we'll just pop over here into the radiata. So that's today's lecture, the radiata and porifera. Keep in mind that as we go through the units, then we're going to move over to the bilateria. And that's going to broken down into the three subsequent lectures that you'll get: the ecdysozoa, the lophotrochozoa, and then we'll end up with the deuterostomia. So I would sort of look at this chart and keep this chart in mind. Welcome to Kingdom Animalia. So the taxonomy of animals, we're still in domain Eukarya, eukaryotic cells. We're in the supergroup Uniconta. We've seen this before. We looked at plasmodial slime molds and cellular slime molds. They were in a major clade called the Uniconts. We're now going to shift over into that major clade. So we're going to begin our journey into the porifera. And again, these are not true tissue animals. They're right over here in their own group. And we'll look at two phylum, phylum Calcarea and phylum Silicea.